Hey guys, welcome back to Resistance Chicks. I'm your host, Michelle. I'm going to take over the whole show today. That's a joke. Leah is coming here presently. However, I'm going to go ahead and get started without her because we're already running late. But today is the 4th of June, 2018. It's a Sunday. Are you guys excited about our show today? Every Sunday, if you are not familiar, and you probably are, we go live at 1 p.m.-ish, give or take. Mostly just give a few minutes about the top news in Europe and in the UK. So Leah has a jam-packed, here she is very beautifully, stunningly coming here presently. We have a jam-packed show for you today and a lot of your favorite Brit and mine, Mr. Nigel Farage. So we're going to kick it off with him. Just do a short clip of something Simon had sent to us via email where Nigel did an interview with a Bilderberg on Sky News. So
that's not what I wanted. That was my buying supplies for the pigs today.
Without further ado, let me switch over to this other. Nope, that's not the one I want. I want you. There we go. But before I actually press play here on this video, let me read to you. Today is Barry's birthday.
Happy birthday, Barry.
Happy birthday, Barry. Did you tell me that it was your birthday? I hope you didn't, and that I didn't miss it, because then I would feel really bad. All right, so Simon says, Nigel Farage versus Ken Clark thrashed it out on Sky News. I don't know, Simon's from Jamaica, but I think he's from the UK. He's in Jamaica. Mr. Clark claimed Brexiteers cannot think of any regulation coming from the European Union they would like to see changed, prompting Nigel to list out the main ones he would like to see scrapped after the leaving of the bloc. Nigel says, common fisheries policy, common agricultural policy, working time directives, I could go on. And so could I, says Simon. European arrest warrant, free movement of the people, EU army, which is PESCO, EEAS, the EU sphincter on our passports, driving licenses, cars and public buildings, the failed euro, and of course the 18th of June 2008. The EU Commission voted to destroy the internet as we know it with 2 new copyright rules, which will force internet companies to ban memes and check words against copyright work and remove those flagged, and a new link tax requiring all internet companies to get permission to use snippets of work. This will effectively close down many small to medium-sized independent internet companies who have already largely been demonetized, censored, and firewalled by YouTube and Facebook. These new rules will not be enabled until they are voted on by the European Parliament. Must we wait around and see if they will vote for it too? So let me play just a little clip of this so you guys can get a feel. We're not going to play the whole thing. It's really long, but I will leave a link to it in the description.
So and Kenneth Clark MP, the veteran Europhile Conservative MP and former Cabinet Minister, held just about every top job there except Prime Minister, I think.
I've been around a bit, yes.
Nigel Farage, how much responsibility, blame or credit do you think you deserve personally for the fact that Britain 2 years ago voted to leave the European Union?
Well, I don't think there would have been a referendum if I hadn't done what I'd done. I was taking a lot of votes off the Conservative Party to begin with. Later on, actually, I was taking more Labour votes, but it was the effect, psychologically, I think, I was having on David Cameron that made him concede to say there would be a referendum. Interestingly, when Cameron did that, he thought the UKIP fox would be shot, and actually all it did in a way was legitimise the position that we've been putting out there. So, yeah, in terms of the referendum happening, I think that was a UKIP success. And of course I was thrilled 2 years ago that we won, despite having the whole world against us. I have to say, with the anniversary coming up tomorrow of that referendum, I feel pretty bitterly disappointed at the way this government's handling
Okay, we'll come on
things.
to. I mean, do you accept that it's his fault?
Actually, to start, I agree with practically everything he said. I've several times publicly acknowledged that Nigel, in a way, is one of the most successful political people of my lifetime, because he made it absolutely he produced a transformative change in this, the whole relationship of the country with the rest of the world. We're waiting to discover where we're going, and it was very much down to UKIP. He brought immigration into the argument, which strengthened the previously Eurosceptic cause. And he took great advantage of the referendum. I don't take away from him his quite extraordinary triumph. I do disagree with the fact that it was just UKIP caused Cameron to call the referendum. He was more bothered. David Cameron was more bothered about party management. He wanted to shut up backbench Brexiteers before the election.
He thought what was going to happen was a flood of defections from Conservative backbenchers to UKIP, and that was the biggest fear that he had. And there was some justification in that.
We'll leave that for later, because I had a long row with him, and it wasn't the explanation he gave me. But I also share the disappointment. A year on, we're getting nowhere. And when the government can agree a policy, when the Cabinet has a policy for what it wants to do now, we'll be clear about what's going to happen. But it is disappointing that 2 years after the referendum, we really have made little progress at all, and the present situation is getting very worrying. We're just a few months to go before we leave the biggest free trade area in the world.
I mean, I suspect you're disappointed for different reasons.
I think for mirror image reasons.
Right.
I think I'd agree with that.
I think you and I have quite agreed on the basic policy.
So let's take Airbus, for example. Is that the sort of thing that's worrying you?
That's symptomatic. I mean, both sides have a habit of leaping on one example. So somebody will announce the investment tomorrow, and Brexiteers will say this shows what a triumph it all is. You can't leave the biggest and richest international free trade agreement in the world without damaging your economy. There are lots of other things as well. And manufacturing, international manufacturing, is obviously vulnerable. I mean, everybody starts arguing about in general terms. I don't see how you can deny that if you're making the wings in Bristol...
Except that, I mean, you're responsible for damaging Airbus.
Do you know, 20 years ago, I heard car manufacturers saying, if Britain didn't join the euro, they may well consider pulling out of Britain.
I don't remember
They're
that.
still here. Oh, yes, Nissan, others like that.
I didn't read that.
But that's not... I mean, this is a reality, though, today.
Big businesses,
this is not a hypothetical
look, we
scare.
build the wings in this country. If
How
they
can
close
you
down
put the
production, it would take them at
barriers in?
least 2 years to put that back in place somewhere in France or Germany. Big businesses will always lobby for their interests. Of course they will. I understand that. But what business wants above all, where I will agree with Airbus, is what business wants. They want to know what the cards are they've got to play with. Yeah. And one of my objections to the transition period is all that does is delay the uncertainty as to where we're going to finish up.
They want to transition.
Right, and that is actually a really good transition spot for us when we're talking about the anniversary of Brexit. What we're seeing right now is the uncertainty, not just with the people, because the people have no idea what's coming down the line, but the uncertainty in the economy with all of these businesses. You know us, we're anti-big business. However, every single business, down to the little baker, is going to be questioning what is going to happen. And this leeway is bad for economy because people aren't going to invest. They're not going to spend. They're not going to do things in a natural pattern, which is going to cause the economy to suffer. So if Theresa May really cared about her people, if she really cared about the government, if she really cared about the UK, she would get on with it and not do a transition period, because uncertainty is going to, and you know why they're doing it? Because they know that the uncertainty is going to cause it to crash, and they don't care about people. They care about being right. So if they can let it drag out for as long as they want, then they can say, listen, I don't know why that's still in my ear. Then they can say, listen, it failed. This whole Brexit idea is terrible. People are suffering. Their bank accounts are suffering. Then they may get the people to change their minds because it looks like a failure.
And when all else fails, you really should listen to Ringo Starr. Really, I'm just telling you. Well, we would if we had volume.
Oh, sorry.
We would if we had volume. Ringo.
Feel being back. I know you visit often. Yeah. You said that you voted Brexit, or that was your
I didn't vote. I was out the country. But I said the people voted, and you know They have to get on with it. And suddenly it's like, oh, well, we don't like that vote. And what do you mean you don't like that vote? You had the vote. This is what won. Let's get on with it.
Would you have voted that way?
I would have voted for Brexit, yes. I would have voted to get out. But don't tell Bob Geldof.
Why did you vote that way, Ringo?
Well, because I think it's a great move. I think, to be in control of your own country is a good move.
Always.
Always. And that's just the key. To say that Britain can't be extremely successful
on their own
without the ties, you will always be more successful the more freedom that you have to make decisions and choices on your own.
Unless you're a child.
We talked about the fishing waters. Europe is sharing. Oh, we're sharing Britain's fishing waters because some of the landlocked nations, might want some more water. So share alike, right? The EU is a form of communism, and a lot of these socialists in the European Union want to have it both ways. They want to say, oh, we don't want to go all the way to communism, but we want to go right up to the brink.
Right.
And the brink is where you have this mass migration and you can't do anything about it. And you may not have your government putting a gun to your head, but you have a foreign body of people coming in with a gun to people's heads. So let's go through some of my my links here. Here we have some people celebrating. There was a mass...
Well, they're calling it Brexit Day?
Yeah.
I love that.
So, but there was a mass demonstration by the Ramoners. About 100,000 people showed up. They want a vote on whatever happens at the end of the Brexit negotiations. You have young people who are just with tears in their eyes with these, in my opinion, these satanic European blue faces with, yellow stars.
It does look satanic.
It's like, hi, I'm in a cult when you carry around EU flags.
There you go. Yep. Just the man. Thank you.
But these are Brexit people. We want our country back. Kid. It was also in protest for Tommy. What I love most of all what's happening in the UK is your country is about the size of Ohio, geographically speaking. And so you actually have more control over your politics in that you can have 100,000 people sign a petition and have Parliament vote on something.
I love that.
That would affect your entire country.
Right.
We don't have that.
As with Tommy.
We don't have the ability to affect our... but we do at the state level... We're able to affect, change. And actually, that's something that is different between the UK and the United States. We have a constitution that's supposed to be made up of individual states. So the states are actually supposed to have as much power over our daily lives as more than the federal government. Everything, the Constitution is very limited on federal government. It's kind of flip-flopped. But here is a little clip of this newscaster on Brexit Day 2 years ago.
We can now say the decision taken in 1975 by this country to join the common market has been reversed by this referendum to leave the EU. We are absolutely clear now.
52 to 48. I think you had a vote. That's how things work there. All right, here, let's go to... Nia Griffin from the Labour Party.
Now, in terms of positive voices and listening and all that, huge march in London yesterday, 100,000 people chanting, "Where's Jeremy Corbyn?" No really big Labour people on the platform addressing that march. Is the Labour Party prepared to listen to that many people who want what they would call a people's vote, a second choice on the European Brexit matter, or are you closed to that?
Well, first and foremost, as you know, Jeremy Corbyn was out in Jordan speaking about very, very important international issues. And the fact of the matter is, of course, people in a democratic country can do what they like and have marches, and that's good, and they should express their opinions.
You're not listening to them.
But the important point is that we had a vote 2 years ago. The vote was for Brexit. So what we have said all along, absolutely consistently, is that we accept the result of that vote. But what we want is a Brexit that works the best way possible for the economy and for jobs. Okay. And what we're not getting from this government is any certainty. That's why you've got the likes of Airbus getting...
A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways, and you have this wishy-washy, I don't know what we're going to do type thing, and it's really messing with people's heads. But hang on, because
I want to reiterate one more time, in case you missed it. It's an a double-minded man is unstable in all of his ways. But when you are a mastermind criminal, you know exactly what you want, and you cause the people to think that you just don't know what's going on. It's all so crazy.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, you know exactly that the chaos that you have delved out to everyone was a master plan.
Right.
To make people unstable.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to turn this down.
The powers that be aren't unstable on this at all. They know that the instability will drive you all mad.
Yes.
That's what.
So here we have another view of the march here with some...
When we all stand together, we can never be torn apart.
Somebody put some nice music. Free Tommy.
Flags of Britain. Forever they should be. When we all stand together.
So you might hear a lot about the Ramoner Parade March, but there was a
these
very
are beautiful, peaceful people.
Free Tommy. Leave the EU.
This is so fantastic. I wish I lived in the UK. Did anybody here in the chat attend anything like this?
That's a good question.
Yesterday. I'm curious to hear from you if you saw it in passing or whatever.
Right. All right. So here's a question. I'm going to go through a couple.
I'm glad you're getting to that interview.
Clips. Was there cheating on Brexit spending? Of course not, Nigel Farage.
Well, the first reflection is that itself was extraordinary. I mean, we had every big global business, every global leader, everyone telling us not to vote for Brexit, a massive imbalance of spending from one side to the other.
Although, of course, there are people looking at spending from both the Vote Leave and Leave.eu.
Yeah, well, Mr Cameron spent £9 million of our money putting a leaflet for each of our households.
Well, it's not looking at it, it's looking at whether it's criminal.
But was there any cheating?
No, of course not. Although... I don't know how much George Soros spent on their side. All of that will come out in the wash. All of that will come out in the wash. But it's in some ways, it's not surprising that you've got the political class who are very wedded
to the
European project, trying to prevent Brexit from happening. But I suppose the real problem, where we might agree, is I think the leadership, frankly, from Theresa May has been pitiful. There is no clear vision of what we're trying to achieve here. There's no clear... this is where we need to be in 3 or 4 years' time. All we're doing, effectively, is kicking the can down the road, making concession after concession. And I think, actually, most Brexit voters, some are angry, and some are just very frustrated with it.
All right.
Some are angry, and some are just very frustrated.
Okay, so this is what it looks like to buck the powers that be. As Nigel Farage just quickly pointed out there, David Cameron spent $9 million to put leaflets in everyone's mailbox telling them they didn't want to leave. Imagine how many people would have voted for Brexit if the BBC had been positive, had said we want to, if the BBC had the same desire in them to leave the EU as they did to stay.
It would have been sweeping.
Imagine if Theresa May wanted to leave.
Sweeping.
Imagine if David Cameron wanted to leave. Imagine if all of your different leaders and all of your different politicians wanted to leave. It would be totally different.
There is not let me not be hyperbolic, but there are very few independent thinkers on the Ramoner side. So if the mainstream media, the powers that be, all told them that this was a good idea, they would have gone with it. The same thing can be said for a lot of the people that didn't vote for Trump here in the United States.
Sure.
So hang on. Werther Look says Theresa May should be saying now we either get a deal or we walk without one. She should also be speaking out to the EU businesses to pressure the EU to stop messing about, but it won't happen. Weak. I can't do the Manchester accent. That's the best you're getting. But seriously, that's exactly what she should be saying, and she's not going to because she is weak.
What David Cameron was telling everybody before.
The British people have made a choice. That not only needs to be respected, but those on the losing side of the argument, myself included, should help to make it work.
Should help to make it work. And that's what Ringo Starr was saying. Why don't we all just get behind it and just do it? Just get it done. When somebody makes a decision, then you just go with it, right? All right. So here was Anne-Marie Rodgers at the Free Brexit hashtag, Free Tommy Brexit yesterday.
Between the two of them anyway. Vote differently. Vote differently. We must do it. We must catch up. Catch up with people in other European countries who in vast numbers are voting against their establishment and giving real patriots a chance. We have to do the same here. A note of caution. We all know that next year, whatever we get, it won't be what we voted for. We all know that. And just to add a note of caution, even if we got a full Brexit, even if next year we got full control of borders, full control of everything else, we're absolutely out of the European Union, it would still never stop bullying and pushing us around. Switzerland is not in the European Union. And you know, a few years ago, the EU threatened to break trade with Switzerland because it had voted in a way they didn't like. They will continue to do the same. They will continue to stick their oar in to every country on this continent. And that's why we have to think bigger. We have to look at a bigger picture. And we have to catch up with our European neighbours to unite together and bring down the corrupt European Union altogether. That is the only future. That is the only way we are ever going to get rid of them. Bring it down altogether.
I am with you, girlfriend.
Thank you all once again. I say this every time because it's true. You are all heroes. You are all heroes. And to the BBC, loving how big this anti-Brexit march is today. Their headlines are all over about how big this march is. Well, BBC, there was a protest 2 years ago today, a massive protest, and our side was bigger. Thank you all for coming out.
Hashtag, we won.
So there's a couple comments I wanted to read here because the chat is really going today.
Hippity hop hop.
Stuart the Brit says London was very busy yesterday and very well organized, peaceful, and very over-policed. Where the Look says also Obama came over and said we'd be in the back of the queue for trade if we voted leave. Remain campaign was a disgrace. On the Obama comment, no one said the last straw for me voting leave was when they brought Obama over to warn us bad things would happen. You know, it's really good.
It wasn't even a warning. It was an admonition, and it was a
threat.
Threat. That was
an absolute threat.
Right.
In Scotland, all media and political parties campaigned for Remain. Many, I don't have a good Scotland accent. Yeah, sorry about that. Scotland. No, I'm not even going to try. All right, hang on. There are a couple more. Jack Russell says, if only that would happen, Resistance Chicks. Apparently Anna Sowerby could be deselected, though, so that's something. I'm not sure who that is. You could expound upon that. The Green Knight says companies sent letters to their workers telling them that if they voted for Brexit, they might lose their job.
Wow.
Which reminds me, I know it's Sunday, but it kind of goes into the whole, like, censorship of life. Sarah Huckabee Sanders was in a restaurant, was it just yesterday?
I think so.
And the owner was upset that she worked for Trump, and so she was kicked out with 7 other members of her family and some friends. The owner literally said, 86er, that's the code for getting out somebody they don't want in there. They kicked her out of the restaurant. So when you have...
Because she says her LGBT employees were triggered.
Okay, you know what? And you had a really good point there. You said Sarah came to the social media. She put it out there just saying that this happened. Somebody came back and said, oh, you all had your panties in a wad when the baker gets prosecuted for not baking the LGBTQ whatever cake. And you said, we're not asking for legislation against the fact that they kicked Sarah Huckabee Sanders out. Okay?
And that's the difference. You can cry all you want, and you should. And if you want to boycott a business, then you boycott a business.
Right.
That's called freedom of speech.
Right.
They want legislation. They want these people who don't do exactly what they want them to do.
They want to take legal force, like being able to fire you based on your political or religious views.
Right.
And yet when the shoe is on the other foot and all you're doing is just saying, hey, this is wrong, then they cry foul.
Right, here we have another clip here from...
Yeah, we're a very liberal, tolerant country. I understand what people
I think
said.
we've become less liberal and less tolerant.
Well, because of what you did. You know, you took a post-war order, starting with Windrush, that went on until Blair took power, where net 30,000 people a year came to the UK for half a century. And then you took over, and you took over, and it became 300,000 people a year.
That's true, though.
Is it any wonder people got frustrated when they saw their towns changing, they saw their access to primary schools becoming more difficult, even getting a GP appointment?
All right, well, let Alistair.
These are real challenges, and
they're real challenges that we must overcome them because the biggest lie was that y'all needed these young military-aged men to fill jobs, when in reality...
all they do is come and mooch off the people.
They're moochers. Yeah, so that's the biggest
They
lie.
don't come and fill this needed, like, we need able-bodied men, because that's all that's coming over. We need able-bodied men to fill these positions, you know. Unfortunately, and you guys have heard us talk about this, I think it was on Wednesday's show, but maybe Fridays, about Mexicans.
Yeah.
At the very least, they come over here and they work harder than anyone you'll ever meet in your life. Mm-hmm. Okay? So, yes, a lot of times their families, they have free health care if somebody gets sick and they go to the hospital, but they're very family-oriented. They're Christian, and they work really hard. We don't see that in Europe with the migrants that are coming from Africa and the Middle East.
And there is a difference because while they're not integrating all the way, it's just a stark difference between the Christian Mexicans coming up and the culture is not that much different.
Well, they're not trying to come and take over and make America Mexico.
Right.
This week, we were to agree to a single market on goods and in exchange to have some idea of freedom of movement within the European Union, perhaps for workers. Would that be acceptable to you?
A total sellout. Total sellout. We voted to take back control of our borders. And we voted.
But wouldn't that be having the best of both worlds?
No, I think actually the worst of both worlds in many ways, because we'd find ourselves still with 100% of our economy bound by European rules, unable to reach out into the rest of the world and make our own fresh trade deals. No, it's clear. We voted, let's put this word out there, we voted for independence. Let's take it.
Some of the hardline Tories, disagreeing with in the House of Commons, have the same religious fervour that we're leaving everything to do with Europe. Yeah. So that means that it doesn't matter about 10% of the economy being manufacturing and all that kind of thing, just pulling out. And it is rather worrying. I just don't understand what drives this thing. If it's got the word Europe in it, and then
we want to be our own. We want to govern our own country. We want to be independent people. We don't want Mr. Juncker governing us. A bunch of old losers in Brussels. We want to be free.
Most Brexiteers cannot think of a regulation they want to change. If you ask people to cite one, usually they cite one that is in the European
Common Agricultural Policy, Working Time Directive. I could go on. I could go on. Of course.
Mr. Clark, you did accept that one of the powerful arguments that Nigel Farage introduced into the Brexit thing was the question of immigration.
Yes.
And there is there not, a widespread public desire to reduce the level of immigration?
Well, there is, and it's been whipped up very much.
70%.
One thing I totally agree is I think you'd reassure people, because we're not really racialist and xenophobic in this country, only a minority of people. But I mean, the feeling we've lost control is it does better. I agree with that. And people just think somehow we should control it better. We could tighten up on Europeans, but we've already discovered that we actually need Poles coming here to do skilled jobs that we haven't got, or Romanians coming here as nurses, or
the
people
Poles
coming here
makes sense. I love that
crops.
you talk about the
I
Poles.
mean, we're going to have to make endless exceptions and just stop people. People don't come here just for benefit, but you make it clear you're going to stop that. The real problem is immigration from outside, which I think we should be liberal about. I'm in favour of asylum. I don't have any slightest hang-up about anybody's ethnicity myself, but I think in the campaign, it was Muslims people were worried about. It was the people on the beaches of Libya. They somehow thought Jean-Claude Juncker was sending them here, and they didn't want them to come here. We've got enough already, that kind of thing. And now, I don't agree with any of that. But I do think the total lack of control we have over illegal immigration, which is flowing in on lorries and jeeps.
That's exactly what's happening. It's like they speak literally out of both sides of their mouth. It's so disgusting.
All the time from around the world. And our failure with other Europeans to actually respond to the sudden surge from Africa and the Middle East in any effective way, and also civilized and humanitarian way, I would hope, that is a big issue. It's causing half the problems in Western democracies all over the place. It's Mexicans in America, it's Arabs in France, immigration here. Nothing actually to do with our membership of the European Union.
I mean, conversely,
nothing at all to do with the fact that Angela Merkel pretty much put a welcome sign out and said, come all of you migrants.
For National Health Service, our population is now rising by 500,000 people every single year, and 3/4 of that is directly down to immigration. What was announced yesterday was that complete free movement from the European Union will go on for a further 3 years without a single promise as to any checks being put in place after that. And frankly, quite how the Conservative Party get away with fighting the last 3 elections on manifestos, promising to reduce to tens of thousands a year without ever meaning it, I think it's disgraceful.
Disgraceful. Thank you, Nigel.
We were to agree
for your inputs here.
No, listen, Clark is acting like the migrant issue is a fluke that everybody can agree on is bad and needs to stop and has nothing to do with the EU, when it was their plan from the beginning to flood the European Union.
When George Soros has 1/3 or 2/3 of the EU literally on a list that will vote his way, and he says in his cryptic emperor's voice, "We want to flood Europe with more migrants." How do you talk like that? Mess up your throat.
Party leader and Fox News contributor, Nigel Rodgers, joining us live here in the studio. It is so nice to see you this morning. So what do you think about what's happening in Germany?
You know, she was the most powerful European leader. You know, been in power for over a decade. She was the dominant figure, not just in Germany, but in the entire European Union. And one decision has completely ruined her career and her legacy. And it was, I think, the worst decision any Western leader has taken in modern times. As many of you as want to come, can come. Over 1 million people came into Germany. And, you know, we've now seen in the last 4 years.
So what we just saw in the interview with the other guy,
Ken
Clark, he says, I think that, you know, this vision of Juncker sending all these people, he's like, it wasn't Juncker. He can tell the truth because it was Angela Merkel, right? Mm-hmm. So that's how they lie with a straight face and get away with it, and they can mean it and look sincere, like pass a polygraph test.
Right. No, your necklace just isn't quite centered.
I'm like, what
I
is
can't
she
help
looking
myself.
at? It's really weird. It freaks me out.
I'm sorry. I won't do it again. I won't even look at you.
Okay.
I'm not going to look at her again.
There's over 1,000 people in Europe killed or maimed by refugees coming into these countries. And a new party in Germany has emerged. It's called the AfD, the Alternative for Deutschland. It's getting near 20% of the polls, and it's put the absolute fear of God into the establishment. Now, she's got 2 weeks to try and convince the European Union
this was
to
taken
change direction. But it's a bit rich, isn't it? For the person who opened the door to say to the rest of Europe, it's time to get up.
It's so great. It's perfect. It is the Lord, though. Hang on. This is the Holy Spirit. Yeah. Because what God does is makes people do like a 180 on a lot of things, and the trouble that they were trying to put people in, they will have to use to get themselves out of the trouble. And that is, she's the one that opened the door, and now she's going to the EU saying, I'm going to lose my position if we don't cut this off, man. We got to get these people out of here. They got to stop coming in here. It's hilarious to me.
Yeah, I don't even think she's doing that. I just think she's just going to her master, George Soros, like, what do I do? You keep telling me if I hold the line, everything will be okay. I'm going to lose power. What do I do? Just hold the line. Satan will come through for us. We have sacrificed many babies on his altar. We must follow through. And so that's what happens behind closed doors with Angela Merkel.
Somebody had said a little bit ago on Facebook Live, oh no, Lionel Nation is like live right now too. And my mom loves Lionel, so I hear him a lot. I like him. He's a cool dude, okay? But there really is no comparison. You're not going to get George Soros impersonations on Lionel or any other show, maybe Alex Jones.
Lionel goes live more frequently, so you can catch him tomorrow.
But what I'm saying is you can't get this kind of entertainment just anywhere. Y'all know it's true.
We like Lionel. Okay, study. Mass migration, nearly the sole driver of the European population growth. Yes, you heard that right. A new study from Austria has contended that not only is mass migration a large driver of population growth in Europe, but it may be close to the sole driver. Driving Miss Daisy straight over the edge. As native birth rates stagnate or decline. Now, we reported about a month ago that Polish births are up just a tick, probably due to our show. Thank you.
Yes, make more babies.
I'm just kidding. Maybe not. The study conducted by researchers at the Austrian Academy of Sciences and Vienna Wittgenstein Center.
Mom tells me Lionel does great impersonations. You're right, but not like Leah.
He does. Let's not compare.
We're not comparing.
No, we're not.
He was just the person that was brought up.
Looked at European population trends between 1990 and 2017 and found that almost all the population growth in Western Europe was driven by migration. Now, they need to just say Muslim migration. It isn't like Poles coming over giving a bunch of birth, because it's Europe. It's migration outside of Europe. Just make clear. And most of that predominantly, just by the names, they're not getting the names of
Mohammed.
They're not getting the names of Mary,
yeah.
Joseph, Matthew, Luke.
Right.
They are getting the names of Mohammed. Just about 100 different variations of Mohammed.
There's a lot of Aishas.
Yes.
MMB, says St. Mark the Evangelist. Make more babies.
There you go.
We need hats that say make more babies.
Migration movements have become the driving force behind growth and decline of the population of Europe. Only 2 Western European countries, Ireland and France, saw population growth due to births rather than mass migration. But more recent reports have shown the French birth rate in decline for the past 3 years. In both Germany and Italy, population growth was solely due to mass migration, as the birth rates of both countries did not match replacement rates. Germany has seen such a mass influx of migrants in recent years that some estimate that as many as 1 in 5 residents comes from a foreign background. Almost all the Balkan states, barring Slovenia, saw population decline, which has been attributed to residents leaving and finding work in Western Europe. Central and Eastern Europe countries have largely decided against growing their populations through mass migration, opting to support local people to have families. Instead, we showed you some Polish and Hungarian ads, like a little, couple out in the meadow. In February of last year, Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban did offer to take in migrants, but not from the Middle East, Asia, or North Africa. He said to Western Europeans, "We shall let in true refugees, Germans, Dutch, French, and Italians, terrify politicians and journalists who here in Hungary want to find the Europe they have lost in their homelands."
So you know what I would like to do? And I have no idea how to do this. If somebody knows somebody who could do this, you let me know and put me in touch with them. I would like to have a little something that I could play whenever I want to do the Make More Babies, the MMB segment, that like a laughing kind of baby would kind of zoom across the bottom of the screen while we're going live and like have like a little baby giggle. and there would be kind of like streamers and things, and like maybe I could throw a little music in there, like it's time for the Make Babies for Your Country segment, and I could just like play that across the screen. Y'all can see what's going on in my head, because Redneck Survivalist says, Michelle, do the Make More Babies speech again.
Freaking me out.
For those of you that have not heard, I'm going to give it real quick. Wherever you are, wherever you live, get married. And if you are already married, please make babies for the country that you live in. Please do that. It's a really good idea. We are being overtaken by people that want to take over our countries and make them not what our countries were intended to be. It doesn't matter your race. It doesn't matter your creed. Y'all just need to go and do it today.
And see who wins out. All right. Censorship. Entire European identitarian movement permanently banned from Facebook. The anti-mass migration generation identity movement, the ones that did the big blue thing going on, stopping people going over the Alps, has been banned permanently from Facebook after all of their official pages were deleted due to extreme content. Over the last several weeks, the group has seen page after page disappear from the social media giant's platform with little or no explanation, but a new report claims that Facebook has permanently banned the hipster right identitarians, accusing them of posting extremist content. According to the paper, Facebook confirmed that the group had been permanently banned from the platform, citing their policies against extremist content and organized hate groups. The ban impacts all branches of the identitarian movement, including Britain, Austria, Italy, Germany, everybody. The French wing of the movement put out a press release when censorship of their pages began earlier this year. By depriving Generation Identity of any representation on its platform, Facebook tries to gag a political movement that has accumulated hundreds of thousands of subscribers throughout Europe.
And they are able to do this censoring more in places like France, the UK, and Germany.
Right.
Where, I don't know, the Facebook police over there are hardcore.
Right.
So are the YouTube police. They take their job very seriously.
Right. Exactly.
And I think they're given more leeway and more permission to do more.
So, yeah, they're banned there. Irish PM meets with Hillary Clinton, insists Europe needs more migrants to enrich societies. Europe needs more mass migration from the global south because it enriches our cultures and societies, according to Leo Varadkar, who announced he will import more asylum seekers in Ireland after meeting Hillary Clinton. Just let that sink in right there. Just sink in. Just let it sink in after meeting Hillary Clinton. She's another one of George Soros's, like, have you ever seen The Christmas Carol, where the one Ghost of Christmas Future, I don't know which one, he opens up his coat and you have Hunger and Want, these two little children. So you've got, like, George Soros opens up his coat and he's got, like, little people, like, and Hillary Clinton's one of them.
Isn't that Christmas, like, present?
I'm not sure. I don't know. Whichever one.
Okay, but so as my wheels are turning and I'm listening to this unfortunate tale, yarn that you be spinning, it's breaking my heart that they think that in Ireland they need more cultural enrichment. Because I have to tell you, Ireland is the cultural enrichment of Ireland. It's a very good thing to be Irish. We are part Irish.
Take the high road and I'll take the lower road.
What you're trying to do is change the culture. Most of us like the culture of Ireland, and we don't want it to change. We want to go to Ireland to experience the culture of Ireland. We don't want to go to Ireland to experience the culture of the Middle East. If we wanted to experience the culture of the Middle East, we'd head over to the Middle East.
Rick Steves? If I want to go to Africa, I want to go to Africa.
If I want to go to the Middle East, I'm going to the Middle East. But most of us ain't want to go there. And so all these people are going, if you won't go to Africa and you won't go to the Middle East, we're bringing it to all y'all.
Here's the thing. This isn't racist. I love Africa. I think Africa is awesome. I actually want to go to Africa. I've always wanted to go to Africa.
We differ there.
She doesn't like lions and tigers and snakes. That's the thing. I've always wanted to go there. I've wanted to go to Ireland.
Take the High Road is a Scottish song, Sean says.
Close enough, right? Isn't it?
Yeah,
close
because
enough?
it says, and we'll meet in Scotland.
Listen, it's the only one I could think of.
Wow.
At the moment.
That's embarrassing.
At the moment, on the spot. Okay, so you guys know our last name is Svensson. We are Swedish. Our grandfather came over from Sweden. Now, our grandmother's last name was Dyer. She was hardcore Irish.
Yeah.
We've got Erin go Bra stuff around here.
Yeah.
She went to Ireland, met her relatives. We've got all these Irish things around the house. So we are a titch Irish, so I take offense to this, as Michelle is pointing out.
Right.
I do take offense because people go to Ireland because they want to see, cute redheads run around speaking Gaelic or something.
And we have a lot of redheads in our family. And Leah's afraid of this actually because we have so many redheads. Should the Lord bless us with making babies for our country one day, we could, I talked about this the other day, we could have redheads because we are Irish.
There are 5 children in my mother's family. 3 of them are redheads.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they kids have red hair.
Okay. All right.
Mike Skidmore says Lionel has a better vocabulary than we do. He may have a more broad vocabulary. I wouldn't say better. You know who has a really broad vocabulary? Joel Salatin. So I have no problem bowing to those that
You know
do.
what I'm going to say to that? I'm going to say that Lionel is just a titch older than us.
True.
And so he was
a
better
raised
education.
with a better, yeah.
You can blame the public school because, I work really hard to try to come up with bigger words.
Yeah.
And they don't come to me.
Right.
We do our best.
We do the best we can around here. Although I have a larger vocabulary than most people that I know, laymen on the street.
And that's sad.
Thanks.
I open up, and that's why we encourage homeschooling, right? Because we were only homeschooled on and off. We didn't get it, a bunch of it sunk in. We didn't get it to sink in, all of it. And when I read the New England Primer and see the vocabulary for a 5th and 6th grader, I am ashamed of myself.
Yeah.
And that's not my fault. It's not my fault. I was raised among barbarians.
Not our mother.
No, the public school system in America. Speaking days after a meeting with the senior EU figures in Dublin, the globalist Taoist Search Prime Minister committed to resettling a greater number of illegal immigrants stuck in Greece and Italy and Ireland than the batch of 4,000 already agreed.
Is this still your Irish accent? Because it sounds like northern. It sounds Canadian.
Would you just hang on? They're
you
all
add a little bit more flow there.
Hang on, I'm getting there.
No, you're not getting there. You're going to Canada.
As soon as I say Ireland and Irish, it kicks in, and so I was going to say Irish independent. I was getting there. If you just give me a second,
I give you a little.
It takes a minute to get into the flow. It's like being around rednecks. You got to get in the flow, and it flows real well.
Some people were asking the other day for us not to do our accents. If y'all people don't like our accents, y'all have to come here.
Sorry, it makes things more fun for us because it gets really, really depressing, and we've got to bring something to it. Right. I mean, that's like asking Mel Gibson not to use the Braveheart accent in Braveheart, the Scottish accent in Braveheart. That's just stupid.
Well, his is more accurate than some of ours, but you having issues getting all
I am. You're making me cry. I'm just kidding. He said, according to the. You know what? Why don't you just read it? According to the Irish Independent.
He said the gesture about solidarity and burden sharing, and as a way of repaying the support of the European Commission, has given Ireland over Brexit negotiations. We are in favor of the European Commission proposals to ensure that all countries share in taking refugees, and we're willing to do that. We've already given a commitment to accept 4,000, and they're mostly coming from Italy and Greece, although that number is yet to arrive. So we haven't set a new figure as well as yet, but in principle we are willing to contribute to all of them, he added, telling the Independent that his government is willing to participate in more burden sharing, which would involve accepting migrants and making financial contributions.
Can't you just send them back?
Yeah.
Just because they make them to Europe shore doesn't mean you got to take them in. It's real simple, y'all. You send them back.
Go home. Y'all people go home.
He admitted that uncontrolled migration can have the downsides, namely the fact that it has given rise to far-right and national populists. So basically, the problem with migration is that it increases the far-right and nationalist populist forces across Europe, and that's a bad thing. I'm just like...
What is the deal?
I don't know. I think, honestly, I got this out, and it might be a little dusty. So now
you're blowing your nose with the dusty rag.
Yeah, I think actually that's what's causing it.
Then put it down. Get it away from your face. No, it didn't even go anywhere.
All right. Are you ready for this? This is from an American. Now I'm just going to wipe my nose with my hand.
You want a different one? You want a real hanky?
All right. So you've got the U.S. ambassador to Britain has said, listen, y'all. Stop the defeatist Brexit attitude and take inspiration from Trump. The UK must overcome a defeatist attitude after the Brexit vote, and the government should take inspiration from the President Donald J. Trump in its approach to negotiation, the U.S. ambassador to Britain has said.
Is that your American accent?
That's my...
That's good.
Get it, go get him.
Go get him.
Robert Woody Johnson, a billionaire businessman, philanthropist, and keen Trump supporter, made the comments in an interview for a Channel 4 documentary, reports the Daily Telegraph. He was questioned why the UK is so nervous about breaking free from the Brussels bureaucracy, urging the British people not to be pessimistic and have faith. How can a country with this great a history, this great language, this great legal system, and this great presence not be successful? He said he was super confident. Not confident, super confident. Now, how's that for a vocabulary? Super confident. About the special relationship between Britain and the U.S., adding, the thing I want to get more out, the thing I want to get out more than anything else is the attitude that I feel I don't see enough in this country, and that is the confidence where you're headed. Light at the end of the tunnel with Brexit. He continued. The British have always been experts and great business people, great business minds, and to see this defeatist attitude towards Brexit is a little bit startling to me. I read nothing about anybody having a positive attitude towards Brexit or towards the future. As an American, I just ain't used to that. He didn't say ain't. I put that in there. It sounded better.
He said, I'm just not.
He also said, I'm super confident about the relationship between the U.S. and the UK. I am very confident. How's that for vocabulary?
Very confident.
To very.
Yeah.
About our future together. And I'm very confident about what happens after Brexit. I don't think that is a major challenge. Why are we so nervous? We don't have confidence in ourselves. We got the best people right here to do it. That is my take on my first months here. Adding, when you look at Donald Trump and what he has done, maybe take some inspiration and do some of the things he has done. I mean, he turned something around in 1 year, and he has got 3% growth. Earlier this month, Britain's Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson said he admires President Trump's hard-nosed way of dealing with the European Union bureaucrats. Hold your ground. Stand your ground.
What does hard-nosed, really mean? Like,
getting your nose in there, man. Claiming he might get somewhere if he dealt with Brexit. You know Donald Trump would be making this thing happen, and you'd be like up and spinning by now, okay? Dude met with North Korea.
Did do it. Historic moment.
The president and his UK ambassador have also repeatedly promised to quickly negotiate a trade deal with the UK after it leaves the EU. Get on with it, baby. If you want to work with the U.S., we like blood brothers. Come on, we're cousins across the pond. You want to make it happen while Trump's in power. You really do.
No, and that's why they're stonewalling, because they don't want to make it happen while Trump's in power.
So a person on Twitter sent me a video, which it's okay, I'll get it later. Sent me a video, and it's actually a really neat guy from Poland. And if I can, I'll bring it up. Talking about the critical theory. That is basically a bunch of mumbo jumbo.
Big word.
People, a lot of them are atheist Jews, by the way, who came over from Germany and set up this Frankfurt school. And they wanted to take Karl Marx's position and really hammer it home. And they came up with this stupid thing. If you've gone to college and you had to study critical theory at some point. And my best explanation for it is there's nothing, follow no rules, be free, do whatever you want. Do as thou wilt is a whole law. That is Aleister Crowley.
That is Satanism at its core.
Right. And basically, it's Marxism played out. And if you play Marxism out, it's the whole Pinocchio syndrome, where I'm a boy, I'm free, and you go, and Pinocchio goes with the other boys, and then they go to the fair, and they eat whatever they want, and they do whatever they want, and then they get sick, and they're lonely, and the boys are mean. That's communism, okay? And
I felt that movie was really harsh.
It's hard, yeah. But in life, we do have rules, and we do have moral constraints, because it keeps us from hurting ourselves, and it keeps us from hurting each other. And discipline, if you don't discipline yourself, if you don't allow the Lord to discipline you, then you can achieve nothing in life. Whether you're Bill Gates or Steve Jobs, they all discipline themselves to get through to the end of something. But if you just allow yourself to go completely free, you'll be fat, you'll be an alcoholic, you'll end up as Stormy Daniels, places you don't want to go.
You want to go there, man.
A huge part of Satan's plan with Marxism, the essential goal is to get people to remove their self-control and sexual restraints. Saying, I'm a human, I have these sexual desires.
It brings you down to the level of an animal, where animals don't think, they just go by instinct and urges and whatever feels right at the time. Animals do not have any kind of self-control.
Right, exactly. And if you take that in any area of your life, that you will just go and do whatever you feel like doing at any time. Like I said, we have a huge obesity epidemic. We've got divorce epidemics. We've got welfare rolls that are just bursting at the seams, because people, when you have that whole do as you will, when you're talking Karl Marx, when you're talking Friedrich Engels, when you're talking this critical theory, and I'm going to bring up the link because it's in Polish with English subtitles, and I guess this guy has a lot of good stuff. So if you are in Poland and you want a person in Polish talking about what we're talking about, kind of things like that, and going deep into things, I want you to check this guy out.
We are the generation that still understands that Lenin, Karl Marx, and communism is a bad thing. We were raised, even in the public school, and taught that these were bad things. So what the Hungarian Prime Minister is actually speaking to those of us that still have that education, and we realize that it's wrong, because if you say that to the millennials and younger, they're probably going to go, well, I don't know that that's such a bad thing.
So what Viktor Orban is warning about, remember, communism took over parts of Europe. They had to throw it off thanks to World War II, which is really sad to think about. We were talking with a friend about what happened to Poland, how that they were really thrown under the bus after the end of World War II. And Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban has warned that the EU's hostile reaction to the success of the anti-establishment parties shows that the spirit of Marx, Lenin, and the re-education camps lives on in Brussels. Speaking at the unveiling of a monument commemorating victims of the Soviet occupation of Hungary, the Fidesz leader told listeners that it was vital to remember the continent-sized prison world of the Gulag, the lowest circles of hell, where the rate of mortality sometimes reached 80% due to frost, hunger, 10, 12, or 14 hours of hard physical labor every day, to re-educate people philosophically, to get religion out of them, to make them communists, because it's not a natural thing for most people. Overcrowding, the lack of medical care, and the brutality of the guards. He took aim at those in Western Europe who extolled communism. Even after millions, we've covered this. They're putting it, the New York Times is why Karl Marx was right about things. He took aim at those in Western Europe who extolled communism even after millions had perished under the heel of the red dictatorships, and lamented the fact that to this day, the European left continues to see communism and its crimes in a peculiar, blurred light. I just don't understand. You can say Nazi, you can say fascist.
Right.
We grew up in our house saying commie. Commie.
We would say dirty commie.
Dirty commie. He added, in the minds of the number of European politicians, the statues of the communist leaders, they're still standing.
Yeah.
A thinly veiled rebuke to the EU President Jean-Claude Juncker for his decision to praise Karl Marx at the unveiling of a statue honoring his memory. donated by the Chinese Communist Party. I don't understand how somebody isn't drawn out and
quartered
for this. I mean, it's tarred and feathered. How is Juncker still in part of it? He might as well have put up a statue to Hitler and said, hey, this guy's awesome.
After World War II, I don't know that this happened as harshly as it happened, at least here in the United States. But if you had commie affiliations or sympathies, I mean, like you were like put under a microscope. Your whole life was scrutinized. We have Desi Arnaz and Lucille Ball that were kind of dragged under, the bus because of it.
We know that there is no such thing as a communist regime with a human face. The true face of communism is the Gulag. Speaking on contemporary politics, Prime Minister Orban noted that from time to time, the spirit of Marx, Lenin, and the re-education camps emerges in Europe. The democratic Italian election did not reflect Brussels' preference, and in response, there were some who said that the markets would teach the Italians how to vote, referring to the remarks by Angela Merkel's representative, European Commission's Han Oettinger, when it looked as though the Italian people would be forced to vote again in the recent elections. He also noted continued efforts to prevent his own government from fulfilling its election promises to clamp down on illegal immigration and its facilitation by so-called civil society NGOs. Next year will be the 100th anniversary of the 133 days of Red Terror, which broke out in the devastated shell of a Hungary bled dry in the First World War and dismembered by wanton soldiers of fortune. What does it teach us? The Soviet Republic of 1919 teaches us that a treacherous and irresponsible government can lead even to the loss of one's country. And then, after the Second World War, we learned that Hungary's most precious asset is its sovereignty. We paid the price for our weakness, for the loss of our independence. Remember, you guys have sent me, our Polish viewers have sent me videos, sent me Polish history books, Polish and Poland and history. Poland and Hungary are brothers in arms there.
Right, this is a
very strong countries. Just bedrocks of Christianity.
Look at the strength in that.
And
place.
Within 100 years, just kind of like all the men, like obliterated, lost their lives. And I want to see you guys raise up from the ashes to be strong. But as long as you're part of the EU, you're going to have constraints that God doesn't want to have on your country, because it's a communist dictatorship.
I can't pass this comment up. I just cannot. Redneck Survivalist says, Michelle, socialism leads to communism. Communism leads to dictatorship. Dictatorship leads to suffering. Yoda was right. And Yoda was right, and you are as well. It's true. It is a process. And with everything that was set forth, whatever plan you want to say, the Calgary plan, the whatever plan, there have been a lot of plans for the past over 100 years that have been implemented.
Right.
But by and large, the plan is to take one step and then another step and another step. We can see this with legalizing pornography. That was their plan. They literally, it's written down. Legalize pornography. Then you want to legalize contraception, and then we will be able to legalize abortion, and then we will be able to legalize gay marriage. This was a plan set forth over 100 years ago. They have implemented it. So we are seeing this play out over and over and over again.
All right, so here's a bit of breaking news I've been meaning to bring to you guys. Explosion destroys apartment block in Germany, 25 injured. I don't know. Here's a picture. I don't know what caused it yet. 25 people were injured, 4 of them severely, when an explosion destroyed an apartment building in western German city of
Wuppertal.
Police said Sunday.
Wuppertal.
Police said the explosion rocked the several-story building shortly before midnight Saturday with a large bang, scaring people in surrounding homes so much they ran out into the street in a panic. The detonation was so severe it destroyed the building's attic and the top 3 floors. Fire then broke out in several different parts of the apartment building, and firefighters had trouble dousing the flames.
Wow.
So we don't know if this was terror-related or anything like that.
I think at this point, it's terror until proven otherwise. Because it keeps happening over and over again. Bless you with the sneezing.
I know. All right, so there's...
You want me to get you some hyssop or something?
No, I don't know if that helps with sneezing.
It might.
All right, so here I wanted to... All right. Turkey is having an election today.
But
Woo-hoo!
you know what? Sometimes the powers that be take their power a little too seriously.
Erdogan, he dictator that wants to turn his country to an Islamic state,
is turning his country.
It is. Yeah, there's elections there. There's so much fraud there. I mean, seriously, we want to talk about Russia hacking our election. Erdogan controls everything, but it's still there is opposition in Turkey to him, and a Turkish politician from opposition party Li was shot dead today.
There is, and I don't want to make light of this situation.
Two other people on Turkey's election day.
But there is a surefire, no pun intended, way of making sure that you win. And that's just to kill everybody running against you.
Yeah. Turkish newspaper reported that the Yi Party chairman for this Karakoban district was shot dead during the voting process of the ISC secondary school at a secondary school location. The statement released by the CHP district president said some 24 officials from the Interior Ministry were sent here. We did not accept this, and we reacted. Then an MP, hopeful, from the ruling and Justice Development Party, AKP, came, and we did not accept his presence either. After a fight broke out, they started using guns. The IYI party also confirmed his death with another statement shared on social media. The party wrote, Durmaz was brutally shot dead by inglorious, dishonest people. We are now responsible for seeking justice through the legal system. The party concluded offering condolences to Durmaz's loved ones. 2 more party workers were also killed in the same shooting. Local newspaper reported the shooting took place on the day of Turkey's general election amid clashes in the streets and the arrests. Police have earlier arrested 3 men for carrying 4 sacks full of ballot papers in a car headed to one of the polling stations in Surak. Turkey's President Erdogan called the snap election across 81 Turkish provinces in April in a bid to strengthen his leadership. The president has won every election so far during his 15 years in power.
How did he win every election so far? It's like this. If anybody ever tries to come here to our place uninvited, be forewarned. I'm going to look at you and I'm going to say, I do not accept your presence. That's what they said. They literally said, we did not accept his presence here. Bang, bang. I do not accept your presence. I do not accept your presence here. You can't just say, I don't accept your presence and then shoot people. This is not a country anymore. It is solely a dictatorship. There is no free Turk left.
So they're saying that this election's on the knife edge, but I gotta tell you, Erdogan will pull it out in the end.
Isn't it Erdogan?
Whatever, Erdogan.
I think the G is kind of like a...
He is turning to Syrian migrants for support. Turkish police are constantly arresting people. It's just a mess. It's just a madhouse. A literal madhouse. All right. In some other European news, let's hit some top European news here before we sign off. Swedish consulate in Jerusalem under fire for cartoon picture of a child in a hijab. That's supposed to be a little girl, and she doesn't get to show her hair. Isn't that awesome? Because she looks kind of young. The Swedish consulate in Jerusalem has been forced to distance itself from a cartoon picture featuring a child in a hijab to celebrate the end of Ramadan, after a backlash from people accusing them of supporting the oppression of children. It is not okay to put anyone under the age of 18 in a hijab, because you're putting them in one. It's not their own choice. It's not religious. The picture was posted on social media website Facebook on June 15th to mark the traditional Muslim feast that ends the end of Ramadan. Eid Mubarak from Sweden. The consulate was slammed by many who commented on the picture, asking whether they supported the oppression of children, as the young girl was wearing a hijab. In Sweden, the issue of honor culture within the migrant community has grown over the year, with an estimated 240,000 young people living under its yoke. In some families, young girls are forced to wear hijabs, and there have been cases of violence from family members against girls who refuse to wear the garment. Such an incident occurred earlier this year in Karlskrona when a 19-year-old man was charged with abuse after hitting his 14-year-old sister with a baseball bat because she refused to wear the Islamic veil. Experts who deal with honor culture violence said that after the 2015 migrant crisis, they have seen a 50% increase in young people reaching out to them for help.
Now, hold up a minute.
Yeah.
If you want to have some sort of sympathetic view of the religion that shall not be named and their views of doing these things, the quote original intent that good Muslims will tell you of the hijab is to protect the woman from being attacked.
Right.
Or from, because if a man looks at her or lusts after her, he may come and attack her and harm her in some way.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea is, if you don't wear this thing to protect yourself, boom, out of the park. That doesn't even make any sense. The logic there is non-existent. You can't just say you aren't wearing this to protect yourself, so now Ma hit you with a baseball bat.
Right.
It's insanity, and that's what it does. The religion that shall not be named produces insanity in these young males because it doesn't teach how to love and protect a woman the way that God created it to be.
Right. Janice Atkinson, who has lately become a favorite EU MP. She's been the star, speaking out, loving her voice there in the parliament.
And they like to censor her, too.
We want we want our country back, and we want Westminster to carry out our wishes. Yesterday, thousands marched again in London because it was 2 years since we voted to leave the EU to celebrate our Independence Day, but we're not there yet, and we do not trust the Prime Minister that occupies Downing Street to deliver the Brexit we voted for. So here's some pictures with Janice and people celebrating. Despite thousands of men, women, and children marching through London to hear political leaders, veterans, and campaigners, the only mainstream media there to cover us was RT, Russia Today, despite our stage being outside the broadcast media's home at 4 Millbank. Although there were 2 policemen on the balcony filming us, I suppose we should be grateful that someone from the state was interested. The BBC had hired a helicopter to film the rival march of the mad, bad, and sad pro-Euro-communism march of Remainers. In a delightfully hilarious mix-up at the BBC, they used the footage of our march instead of the biased, one-sided coverage they wanted to show of the Remain march. From all speakers, our message was simple. We want our country back. We want Westminster to carry out our wishes. She says, I spoke about the 3 times my microphone had been shut down in the parliament because they didn't like my message, and the crowd roared when I told them we were not alone. We had taken the first brick out of the EU wall, and now other countries were dismantling the edifice of the EU.
I love her. She's like a little firecracker. You never know what's going to fly out of her mouth.
She is.
Well, we're here because it's our Independence Day, and it is, we voted to get our country back, and we're not quite there yet. So it was to turn up with all these wonderful people that represented 17.4 million votes, and to give a message to those people up there in Whitehall that we have to have our Brexit and a clean Brexit, what we voted for. I've never met Tommy, but within 24 hours of him being incarcerated, I was motivated to get on Twitter, get our people together, and have a march down there. There's an anger in this country, but it's a nice anger. It's not a nasty anger. It's not a furious
It's
anger.
a righteous
It's not
anger.
violent anger.
It's a righteous anger.
Are looking for somebody to vote for. And it's certainly not what's in Downing Street at the moment. I'm a Conservative, I'm a real Conservative. I've stood for them. It's not Labour. We don't want Marxists sitting over there. We just want somebody that can say to those people, I'm proud of my country, I'm proud of my history, my culture, my heritage. And I think Tommy, he represents that. He sort of reflects that feeling amongst a lot of those guys and girls out there. So he's triggered something. Don't know where it's going to go, but I have a good feeling about it.
I love her smile. I mean, she just, you can see the light in her eyes. Now, Adeline tells me that she was on Alex on Friday, on Alex
awesome.
Jones, which I didn't see. So that's really, really cool. You guys can go and look for that.
Yeah.
I'm sure that was an excellent program.
I have been looking at Kaylin's Twitter and trying to stay up on it. I haven't seen if we know anything new about. Oh, I need to show you this. Before we sign off here, because I don't have any updates on Tommy, but somebody, see, I want to show you this. Somebody got on an airplane in Australia and wrote "Free Tommy" in his airplane. So we're gonna fast forward here. Free Tommy. I love it. Awesome. Very cool. Free Tommy. Free Tommy. Very cool. So there is a movement. We always try to end on something extremely positive if we can, and if not, just put a smile on your face and say, hey, it's pretty bad. No, just kidding. God is moving. He's moving on the hearts of people all over the world. Oh, one more article. Germany's migrant policy, why Trump was right. U.S. President Donald Trump attacked German Chancellor Angela Merkel. We told you about this. Migrant policy this week. The people of Germany are turning against their leadership as migration is rocking the already tenuous Berlin coalition, he tweeted on June 18th. Crime in Germany is way up. Big mistake all over Europe for allowing millions of people in who have so strongly and violently changed their culture, he added. President Trump's comments come at a time when Merkel is facing the biggest crisis of her career. She is struggling to hold her government together, and the Bavarian Catholic Party, the Christian Social Union, threatening to leave the governing coalition over immigration. The CSU wants the police to have the authority to turn away illegal migrants at the border, a move bitterly opposed by Merkel. While Trump slammed Merkel's handling of the migrant crisis during his presidential campaign, until now, he has refrained from publicly criticizing her over the issue, but he sees that she's headed down, and so he has the ability to kick her, I think, in the shin. Predictably, the mainstream media were quick to criticize President Trump. Trump falsely claims that crime in Germany is on the rise. The Washington Post ran a fact-checking story. Trump says crime in Germany is way up. German statistics show the opposite. Statistics contradict Trump's remarks. He actually was watching the same Fox and Friends interview with a statistician who said that crime was up 10% in Germany. The CNN, BBC, The Vox, and even the youth fashion magazine, the Teen Vogue, published similar reports. Do you see where this all is headed? Like, Teen Vogue? What the heck is Teen Vogue weighing in on the migrant crisis in Germany? While major media outlets on both sides of the Atlantic were citing the same talking points in unison, millions of viewers and readers across the globe could come to believe that the Trump made a false claim. According to the narrative peddled by the mainstream media, after a series of horrendous migrant crimes and a string of deadly terrorist attacks perpetuated by newly arrived Muslim migrants, towns and cities across Germany were reverting to some sort of harmony. All the media reports were based on the 2017 police crime statistics that registered a drop of almost 10% in the crime rate over the previous year. Speaking to reporters in May 2018, German Interior Minister Horst Seehofer cited the report and to assert that the number of crimes committed in Germany is the lowest since 1992. Let us examine the report. On April 22nd, 2018, writing for the German newspaper Die Welt, Anzer Graul, thank you, challenged the much-quoted crime report in an article entitled "The Reality Behind the New Statistics on Crime." When all categories of crime are taken into consideration, then the crime has certainly gone down by 9.6% over the previous year. In the case of violent crimes that particularly lead to fear, the picture is nuanced. There was, however, a slight improvement compared to 2016, but in general terms, violent crimes subjected to high fluctuation are above the levels recorded between 2013 and 2015. Cases of murder, manslaughter, rape, and sexual assault have risen measurably. In 2014 example, there were 180,955 acts. Now there's 188,946. As Graul concludes, the crime statistics drop only when compared to 2016, but have risen in comparison to the period before the refugee crisis. Addressing the issue of migrant crime, he wrote that the proportion of non-German suspects across the board and particularly when it comes to violent crimes, was disproportionately high. According to 2017 crime statistics, more than 1,100 foreigners were charged with murder or manslaughter, as opposed to 1,500 suspects holding German passports. So equal number, pretty much. The previous year's statistics showed a similar correlation. 1,137 foreigners were charged with homicide-related crime compared to 1,638 Germans. These are staggering numbers given the fact that Germany is home to roughly 10 million foreigners as opposed to 70 million German nationals.
So, and I was hoping that they would put that specific number in there so that you can get an understanding. I don't know somebody can do their fast math of what percentage the 10 million of the 70 million is. Is that just, I mean, it's over 10%.
Please don't do things like that online on live feeds.
It doesn't matter. It's what I'm saying is it's a very small percentage of your laugh. Look at her holding back the laugh. Look at it. Watch it. It doesn't matter if I can't do the math very well, very fast in my head. Somebody here can. 12%.
There's
Thank
one
you.
for every 7.
So what says it's 12%? So here you say
there's 1 for every 7.
Okay, that's fine, but my 10% was pretty darn close. Thank you very much. Anyhow, the point is that you have 12% of the people in Germany that are not there by birth committing an equal amount of crimes as the other.
You have 12%
88%
who are from the religion that shall not be named.
Right. Okay? I think that my 10% to 12% is pretty darn close. My fast math in my head.
Your fast math.
Because 10% would have been 7 million. Thank you.
This movement, you guys, you're here from around the world. We're not in some little corner of the internet. We have Donald Trump talking about the same things we're talking about every day. We have the mainstream media talking about what we're talking about, but on the other side, that means something is happening on a global scale. And I want you to be excited about it. When you have Teen Vogue talking about the migrant crisis and how, Trump was lying and his statistics, blah, 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 blah. I get it in my local newspaper, right? Not Teen Vogue, okay? The entire globe is pushing. Listen, there is a wave of populism, and it is fueled by Christianity.
It just goes to show you that even Teen Vogue, everything that can be considered a media outlet is owned by a very small amount of people, very small group of people. And they all disseminate, Mike Skidmore, big word for the day, the same story. And they have gotten so desperate that they are now utilizing Teenage Girls Magazine, which your child should not even be touching. Teen Vogue or Teen Cosmo or whatever, any of that stuff. But they are that desperate because I hear it on our local news here.
It's in my newspaper.
Everywhere I turn around, I'm hearing the exact same storylines down to my local Christian radio station. It's not, well, the local and the national Christian radio stations. They are all giving the same stories.
Right.
And I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute. Why is there such a big push? And this is where our Patriot Gallery likes us to wrap it around to. It's good news that they are trying so hard to put it everywhere that they can. They're plastering it everywhere down to Teen Vogue. They're desperate.
They're desperate. It's so exciting to have the whole world. I mean, like literally, we're all. It's like an ebb and flow, right?
Right.
And the whole world goes in one direction.
Yes.
Then the whole world goes another direction. You guys, it's like a tug of war. And the reason the Americans won the Revolutionary War is not because the Americans were better equipped, not because they were obviously not better trained. It's not because they had better financial backing. It's because they had right on their side and they had God on their side. And we're going to get this over quicker. The more we get into the power of God, the more we get into the presence of God, the more we have a real relationship with Jesus Christ, and we make the changes in our own lives that will affect changes around us. The pilgrims were led by the Holy Spirit to come here and create a nation that was based on not just Christian principles, but on freedom and liberty and justice for all. You don't have freedom and liberty and justice for all anywhere in the European Union whatsoever. It's not. There's no libertarian spirit in the European Parliament or in the European Commission whatsoever. Right. But the American spirit is a distinctively Christian and a majority European Christian spirit. It was great European minds and hearts who were being suppressed by the governments where they were at because they just wanted to serve God and they were legally not allowed to burn to the stake. The same thing that's happening now.
Right.
There's nowhere else to go. Okay, we're not going to space, even though Trump's creating his little space force or whatever.
Yeah.
We're not going to space. Okay, we've got to fix it here.
Right.
Okay, God is going to allow us to fix it here in the power of God. It's, if my people who are called by my name humble themselves and seek my face, turn from their wicked ways, I will come and I will heal their land. And that's what's happening. Christians from around the world, whether you're in Africa, whether you're in South America, whether you're in Europe, whether you're in the frozen tundra of the Arctic regions, visiting us through satellite, we can get back to these Christian principles. We can have liberty for every single person on the planet. And we should always fight for that. China's turning around. Christianity is being preached in places that has never been preached before.
So speaking of Saudi Arabia.
One more thing.
Because you did want to cover that. In the comment section here, Lisa PDX says Yemen rebels shot a missile. Loud explosions reported in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
Interesting.
All right. Saudi women have finally been given their driver's license. It was a nice outfit there.
And just into Fox News from our sister network Sky News in the United Kingdom. Hear this. Saudi Arabia has just announced it will allow women to drive cars for the first time ever. This will begin in June of next year.
That was from last year. I don't know why that was. But Saudi Arabia has now allowed women. Now, I feel that you have to obviously do away with the niqab and the burqa. Because
that ain't
we have
safe.
done this.
That is not
We have showed
safe.
you guys this over and over again. We have tried to come up with enough scarves to kind of work this thing out to see what it would be like to drive with only your eyes showing. And it hasn't... It's really not safe. It's really not safe.
Well, but I feel like, I guess it has to be. It's like they have to cover their eyebrows too.
Yeah.
So it has to be really. So your eyebrows are showing. It's not low enough on your face.
I'll get there. We don't have black ones, I don't think, to make it.
I might have another.
I'm not
darker
even
one in
matching.
there.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. I guess I'll have to just use this.
First
one.
of all, I
Can't
can't
breathe.
breathe. I can't breathe. This is just human torture. Oh, I have a Petco advertisement here. It's hilarious.
Dog food. That's great. That's dog food for the Muslims.
Cookies. First of all, I can't breathe. Check my face. I totally. I don't think they have good breathing holes in these things. Secondly, while I can see, that's a good look, by the way.
Your hair is showing. You're gonna get arrested.
While I can see, it is not, my peripheria is not what it should be.
No. It's not. It's not. It is blocked, like right about here.
But I can see how you'd use those pink eyes to, you've got some, your eyes, I could see how that would drive a man crazy. Your eyeshadow.
My eyeshadow.
Yeah, because that's how they flirt.
Right,
with their eyes through the things.
Well, but it's bothering me that I can't breathe. That would be enough of a distraction.
But we should do this segment without being able to breathe.
Okay, but I need
Saudi
to loosen it a
Arabia
little
and
bit.
Saudi women steered their way through busy streets on Sunday, driving to work, running errands, and relishing a new era in which they are allowed to drive and no longer need to rely on men to move around, even though they gotta. The long-standing ban on women driving was lifted at midnight, ushering in a historic moment for women You can't see me smile, can you? Can you see my
Do
smile
you think
eyes?
they would watch our show if they couldn't see our facial expressions?
I don't know.
Like if we were Muslim women and we were doing the news,
I don't know.
Would anyone watch it?
Historic
see our
moments
faces?
for women who have been at the mercy of their husbands, fathers, brothers, and drivers for transportation. Where is the LGBT representation? Their transgenders. What about their lesbian spouses? The ban has regulated women to the back seat, restricting when they could meet friends, where they could spend their time, and how they could plan out their day. It feels beautiful. It was a dream for us. So when it happens in reality, I am between belief and disbelief, joy and astonishment. Now, thanks to God, I can plan out my own schedule on my errands. I thought it was God that wanted
I would be
you not
doing
to
this
drive
all day long trying to get it.
Wasn't it God that didn't want them to drive?
Right.
But now God's going to allow you to drive. Thank you, God.
Walk into a bank and see what happens, Hilton says. Good point.
So she can plan out her own errands and go to her and her daughter's errands. Before she got in the car to drive Sunday morning, her older brother sent her off with a kiss on the forehead and a wave. His support as her male guardian is key.
Does it really say that?
Yeah. His support as her male guardian is key.
Well, though, hang on. Are we done?
I am going to wear the symbol of oppression, but you can take it off.
Wow. Okay, then I will too. It's just hard for me to.
No, go
move
ahead.
my
One of us
lips
should be able to
here.
move their lips.
Well, because Bertha Look says, imagine a new viewer coming on right now. Hang on, I just can't breathe. They have given women the permission to drive. That does not mean that their husbands have given them permission, and I will be curious to see if there is a law put into place that says if your husband says you can't get one, then you can't.
Women do not need male permission to obtain a driver's license. The culture still dictates that fathers, husbands, and brothers do have the final say. A woman's male guardian must give his approval before she can marry or travel.
Just from a cultural standpoint,
right?
This is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Because we all know what it is like in a brainwashed, oppressive society where the family dictates what you can and cannot do. Nobody is an independent person.
Yeah.
So any girl that goes and gets her driver's license that comes home and her husband, father, whatever, brother didn't want her to, she could be beat again. Here we are back with the baseball bat. Like, bam, and it would probably be okay.
Yep. So, Saudi Arabia, women driving. Here we go. Now, she's not covered.
Now,
so
don't they still
cool,
need a male escort to go with them places, though, sometimes?
Sometimes. So, not all women are covered. Only some women have to have the whole veil. So, some of them are just, like, veiled under their under their chins. So, that's a little bit better. I can handle that a little bit better.
But it still feels really... okay.
So some of them have some of them are able to do it kind of cool. Some of them look pretty funny. She looks nice. Look at that. Some of them wear put on a see-through headscarf. But the girl with the niqab next to her or whatever, taking her picture, which is hilarious. Just a weird system that they have there. It's so weird. Born to drive.
I can't.
Entering into the 21st century. All right.
Okay, so first of all, though, as much as we're making fun of this, I do believe that this is a step in the right direction. So,
who's she listening to? I'd be curious.
Some country singer.
That's hilarious. They listen to country.
Now we're gonna have
country music
head here. We're gonna have
in Saudi Arabia. That is the one downfall of the headscarves. But somebody in the back seat took a video for her. You know, you got to turn up the jams, girl.
That's all about driving. Driving is just to listen to music that you can't listen to at home.
This is hilarious. You know, they're just like us, you guys. They're just like us. She's covered a little more. Here is some traffic police handed out flowers to female drivers, but there really is not allowed to be any consorting between the genders there, so I'm not exactly sure what's going on there.
جاهزة ريم؟ سارة جاهزة؟ دلال جاهزة؟ نور جاهزة؟ ريم توليد هواء النساء السعودية بالسوق السعودية.
He's like, everybody ready? You got your seatbelt on?
No, she can drive the car now. والله هذا الإنجاز ما في شيء. نعطي أبلود واحد all together.
Is her first like driving? Should that be at night?
I don't know. That's a
I
good
don't
question.
know.
So there you have it, folks. Saudi Arabia.
There was one last thing that you didn't
Officially
cover.
lifting the world's only ban on female drivers today.
Oh, this one's covered. This her face is covered. I don't even see her eyeballs.
Officially lifting the world's only ban on female drivers today. The government now allowing women to get behind the wheel after decades of protests. They will no longer have to rely on public transportation or hire male drivers.
Hire male drivers.
How frustrating and expensive.
Yeah.
To have to hire a driver everywhere you go. Are you gonna burn the cinnamon rolls? You have a license to cook those cinnamon rolls?
You should tell them why I do this, because there's a certain time frame in which you have to make things happen.
Well, but you didn't have to make them right before we went live.
Okay, well, it wasn't right before. It's a process. It's an hour here and a half an hour here, and if you don't put them in the oven at the right time, then they'll fall.
Leah's making cinnamon rolls. You should smell a vision.
Well,
it smells really good. She would bring you one, but they're not quite done yet.
They're not quite done yet.
Don't burn the cinnamon rolls, Maia says. Don't you do it.
It's not. It's a long process, and I have in the past. If you let them on your double proof, which is a second rise, if you let them go too long,
big terms,
then they will deflate, and it will be deflating for you. Okay. Michelle is actually supposed to roll with it and not have like off-camera things, but she's not good at that. It's like, hi, real deal. This is our home.
What is the song? No. Let me see your cinnamon roll. Woo, 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 woo.
That's your praise and worship for the day. She went in the presence of God with that one.
Oh, I crack myself up sometimes. Is that it?
That's it.
That is it. There's no more show. Britt Baza, happy birthday. Happy birthday. I hope you have an excellent birthday. Is it really your birthday like today? Today is your birthday? Because what are the odds that his birthday would be on a Sunday? That's only going to happen once in every 7 years.
Yeah.
You can do that math. 1 in 7.
I'm going to go get my other song that I wrote recently. And we'll just
okay. Roy says that he just ate cinnamon rolls. That is more than a coincidence. Worth a Look says he wants one. He's sent by pigeon. Should be arriving at any moment. Yeah, sorry. I know it's cruel. I'm telling you, Leah's cinnamon rolls are like the bomb. She needs to put like a video together and do a recipe for all of you, because it is that good. I don't know where Britt Baza went. I wanted to know yes, is it really your birthday today? I'm trying to find. All right, so Mike Skidmore says you can cook your own rolls with no license, but you can only sell them if you have a license and a government-inspected kitchen. And that is so true. We have a very dear friend of ours who sells eggs at a farmer's market here kind of locally. And the powers that be got wind that there was a farmer's market meeting, and now they've gone in, they're regulating everything. She can't sell her eggs unless the government comes and does an inspection on her well to make sure that her well water is clean enough to wash the eggs. A bunch of other things. And then one of the other people at her farmer's market, an older guy, I don't know what they were asking him to do, but she said he just gave up and decided not to come back to the farmer's market. And it's like, you know what? In the UK, it is illegal to wash your eggs and sell them. To sell washed eggs. Right. And do you guys in the UK know that we have to buy our eggs refrigerated and washed? And they come to us old. All you Americans don't know, your eggs at the store, they're like a month old by the time you get them. Okay?
That's funny.
All right. Yes, it is really your birthday today, Barry. Oh, my gosh. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Barry. Happy birthday to you. There's your happy birthday. We don't always sing happy birthday to those that have a birthday. But Barry, you got a happy birthday because I ain't singing Jerusalem. That's why I sang happy birthday. I saw that capo sitting around somewhere.
So did I.
It was golden. You know, okay, so Bill Burnett is probably watching, and he sent us a second capo so that you would have a second capo.
Right.
And then here's the old capo. Look, you're lucky. We have so much stuff in this drawer that we don't utilize enough of. My Sherlock Holmes hat and pipe. We should use more of this stuff. We have a lot of stuff in here. All right, let me move the camera. Camera move.
Don't wanna give you 99. Wanna give you 100. Don't wanna give you part of me, but all of me. Wanna let go of my past. Wanna hold you tight and fast. Let go of this world and cling to you. And I just wanna praise you. And I just wanna praise you, Lord. Wanna give you Don't wanna give you 99. Wanna give you 100. Don't wanna give you part of me, but all of me. Wanna let go of my past. Wanna hold you tight and fast. Let go of this world and cling to you. And I just wanna praise you, Lord. And I just wanna praise you, Lord. Rising of the sun till the setting of the same. It is your name I'll praise. From the rising of the sun till the setting of the same. I and you and me, that's the way it's supposed to be. I and you and me now until eternity. Yeah, yeah. And I just wanna praise you, Lord. And I just wanna praise you, Lord. Wanna give you praise, wanna give you praise, wanna give you praise. Don't wanna give you none.
How much is that going?
Don't wanna give nine. Don't wanna give you 99. Wanna give you 100. Don't wanna give you part of me, but all of me. Wanna let go of my past. Wanna hold you tight and fast. Let go of this world and cling to you. And I just wanna praise you, Lord. And I just wanna praise you, Lord. From the rising
That is one of Leah's very latest, hot off the presses praise songs, and I love it. It's in my head like all the time.
It's nice.
It is, and I hope it gets stuck in your head as well, because that is something worth singing.
All right, guys.
From the rising of the sun to the setting of the same.
Amen. We don't know when we'll be back, but we will be back. We know we will be back. We know for sure we'll be back Friday at 6, and sometime between Monday and Friday, you might see us again.
It's a surprise. You know what it's like? It's like the Dum Dum Suckers, where there's the one that has the question mark on it, and you don't know what's inside of it. That's what it's like. We keep you guessing.
We really should do an outdoor video again to show you guys how everything's growing, doing good in the garden right now.
The meat birds have been moved to the back fence line.
Have we even showed them the meat birds?
Yeah, they were baby chicks.
I had some, no offense to him, overweight millennial vegan tell me on Facebook that it's evil to raise up our chickens for meat, and I'm like, it's a first world issue to be able to not eat meat and stuff like that. So
and that is really the crux of it, isn't it? I saw that there actually, but I didn't want to grab it in the middle of the song. That'd be take away from the song.
That'd be silly.
Those earrings Mom bought you are so pretty. Did you guys see these beautiful feathers? There's a green feather.
I'm not normally a jewelry person.
She wears it just for you guys.
It's actually not even for you. It's for my mom.
I
was like, can you put on a necklace? Here, I'll buy you these right there.
The hypocrisy of veganism, where in order to get all these vegetables and things that they want, that they eat, that they rely on, they have to use trucks and transport them. They come from all over the world.
Yes.
She's checking the cinnamon rolls right now. You better get them out. Let them eat grass. More meat for me. Says, so what? Making babies is job number 1. That's right, Edward. That is your job today, people. All of you people. This is your job. So we're going to sign off here. Thank you for being with us. I'm going to be uploading both Friday's show and this show onto our Resistance Chicks webpage today. I didn't get a chance. There's a lot of them that I've missed. So if you guys aren't following us or you haven't gone to resistancechicks.com.
So somebody, I think it might have been Brazza, said, I get a notification for Resistance Chicks. I don't get a notification for Mass Bay 3, probably because we're alive all the time.
Right. Well, I asked people today who got a notification. Most people did.
Oh, awesome.
Including Barry Birthday Boy. Got a notification today. But go to our Resistance Chicks page, literally resistancechicks.com, and you can, there's an option there where you can subscribe to resistancechicks.com, and literally every time I put a new article up, whether it's just me sharing the video or I write an article, you can get an email. I'm subscribed to and I get an email every single time. So I want you guys to go there. I've been getting a lot lately, so that's good. I'm compiling an email list as well so that we can shoot you guys emails. So every time you send me an email, I'm saving your email. Every time I get a new subscriber to the website, I'm adding that to the email list. So feel free to shoot me your email and I will add it to the
Have
email
a good
list.
week. Get in the presence of God.
Amen.
Be excited. The powers that be have lost their main power. I'm thinking like Star Wars. Something coupler is disengaged and the Empire is going to come down. Just keep fighting. Hey, Lord gave me a word. You will win if you don't give up.
Hang on, though.
What?
Wasn't that the word that I gave on Friday? And Mom came out and she was like, Michelle, that was so great.
I don't know that word, but the Lord's told me that a couple weeks ago. You'll win if you just don't give up.
Okay.
You want to fight about it?
Let's fight about it right now.
I didn't mean.
I'm going to go eat a
Didn't
cinnamon
God
roll.
speak to me?
Did you get those out?
I turned the oven off.
But you didn't want to show them? Go get one. Not just one, but get the whole thing. Y'all want to see her cinnamon rolls, don't you? You want to be hungry. You want to smell it fake through the cosmos of internet. That's exactly what. Okay, somebody, Sean, I hope you watch this later because the milkman's gone to bed. He was asking about Chick-fil-A. Does Chick-fil-A really not run on Sundays? Yes. Is Michelle angry at Chick-fil-A? Yes. Look at Leah's cinnamon rolls. And then I will tell you why I'm angry at Chick-fil-A. No, they get closer. Oh my gosh, they smell so good. Okay, no.
Whole wheat.
Leah, hang on. Yesterday, what was Leah doing yesterday? You guys may ask. What do we do in our spare time? Besides helping our very, very dear friend clean out her garage for 8 hours, and we got to go back today to finish that. We didn't leave her house until 1 a.m. cleaning out her garage. But she fed us Chinese and ice cream. Milkshakes. I will work like a slave for Chinese and milkshakes. Chick-fil-A. We had a new one put in up the street by our local Lowe's.
And also by where we get on the highway to go everywhere.
They have changed the traffic pattern to let people out of Chick-fil-A better.
I've never seen a restaurant as busy as this Chick-fil-A. It is mind-bogglingly scary.
It's been there for about a month. I take my uncle to the gym 3 days a week in the mornings.
Can't get there now.
Okay? It has added 15 minutes just because of this one light to our trip, to our journey. It's probably not 15 minutes, but somehow it's compiled and it's made it like 15 minutes. Okay? It's at least bad. 10 though. I'm not kidding
really
with 10.
Bad.
So we are going a completely different route, which is faster than waiting at that light because of the daggum Chick-fil-A. And so I want to write them and be like, I know you trying to be like all Christian company, but you had come and ruined everyone. And it's not just in the mornings. It's not just during rush hour. At noon and at dinner time, which is also
get on the highway.
Rush
it's
hour.
Really frustrating. What used to take me like 20 minutes to get somewhere is now.
Oh, is it a supermarket? No, it's not a supermarket. It's a chicken joint. You know, when you get chicken and it's expensive. We don't eat there. I haven't had Chick-fil-A in a decade. I'm not going to eat there. It's not that I don't support that they're a Christian company. I can't afford to get fast food that costs me an arm and a leg. I know people are obsessed with it. I ain't going there. I know. I'm sorry. That's my rant about the Chick-fil-A. Somebody brought up Chick-fil-A.
I'm going to write the owner and politely say, you need to fix this traffic pattern, Mr. Christian.
No, it's not like KFC. KFC is like kind of dirty. Chick-fil-A is like sophisticated chicken. It's not
chicken on a bun, just plain, like no lettuce, no tomato. It's just like a piece of chicken on a plain bun.
I'm sorry. I think it's great that they're a Christian company. I don't want to. I'm just saying from a personal, and I'm able to put I'm not just going to support a company just because they're Christian. I'm not going to, it's a piece of chicken, real chicken, so I can support them there, but probably comes from factory farms, so I can't support them there. On a bun, on 2 pieces of bread, and it's like $4.
It's not. Yeah.
It's not, there's no, if I want a sandwich, I want some lettuce and tomato and some mayo and whatever else you're going to throw on that chicken sandwich. It's just a plain, they got good French fries though. Waffle fries are expensive. So there you go. There's my rant about chicken. But we covered them the other day with the guy, and he shouldn't have, the liberal. So, all right. We love you. God loves you. God bless. And we will see you back here this week for the mystery Dum Dum Show. Bye, guys.
Was called